Oh, Barry, Donald, George, why does YouTube hate us so much?
They don't hate us, Joe. Some content is simply not suitable for advertisers, and unfortunately our content falls within that very broad, not at all clear, interchangeable, borderline hypocritical, favoring more prominent YouTubers, never once really caring for smaller channels, stinky and smelly category. But you know, that's life sometimes. We are, after all, presidents, and maybe that just throws an unintentional political skew on our videos. So that might be what's causing us to be demonetized.
Nah, YouTube is just demonetizing us because they're lame.
Oh, come on, Donald. I'm sure it's not as simple as that.
Oh, but it is George, and many other smaller YouTubers can attest to it. I'm sure we do everything right. We mark that our videos are not for kids. We don't show any graphic nudity. We don't show any graphic violence that isn't from a goddamn cartoon. We don't show any political leanings. The stuff we do is not political. It's quite literally satire. We rank anime and Star Wars, for God's sake. We are literally just weebs that shower. So the only outlier that I can think of is the swearing. Why is swearing held to such a high pedigree? You ever notice that?
Well, obviously swearing is frowned upon, Donald. They're literally labeled as bad words.
That's true, sleepyhead, but again, we mark our videos as not made for kids. Try again.
Well, the subject matter is also important, Donald. Look at round 2 of the Ninja Storm 4 video, Donald. Ben talks about banging his sister for 8 minutes. That's going too far.
Yes, George, but that's the exception, not the normalcy. We all expected that video to get demonetized because the subject matter was shocking. But that's the point, being shocking. So when something goes too far, I get it. But then we look at something like our Star Wars Part 4 video. It also got demonetized, and not for anything copyright related. Everything we did in that video falls under fair use. We swear a couple of times, sure, but really, is that all it takes?
Well, those are the rules, Donald, so yes, I suppose that is all it takes, and we just have to accept that.
Damn, that sucks to hear. Well, I supposed advertisers can't advertise for PewDiePie, Markiplier, Moist Critical, Video Game Donkey, Dolan Dark, 99% of rappers, 60% of the entire music industry, every Call of Duty channel to ever exist ever. Any channel that does prank calls, Jake and Logan Paul, H3H3, Keemstar, satire channels, commentary channels. Gosh, it sucks that all these channels are just going to be hit with demonetization tomorrow, isn't it, fellas?
I get your point, Donald. Some things are definitely hypocritical, but you just got to roll with the punches. Complaining about it isn't going to solve anything.
Oh no, George, you misunderstand. I don't give a fuck about being demonetized. It is what it is. What I'm complaining about is the reasons why we are getting demonetized, which circles back to swearing. Why is swearing held to such high regard? I don't get it. Put it this way, you could have a movie about a little girl traveling through a wonderfully colored fantasy land. As she learns the power of friendship and fly off into the mystical lands of sunshine and rainbows, basically the most G-rated film you can think of. Picture this movie in your head, the most G-rated film possible. Now add 2 instances of someone saying the phrase, "oh, for fuck's sake," or better yet, just 2 instances of someone saying, "fuck." Well, congrats, dumbass, that's now an R-rated film. How does that make any sense?
Well, in that instance, it's no longer a kid's movie because it uses too much adult language.
Yeah, Barry, but as much as I hate to admit it, and believe me, the hate is strong, Donald has a point. I mean, I guess you could make that movie PG because it is still adult language, but I mean, it would be kind of weird to make the movie R-rated.
Well, I guess it is a bit of a complex issue. Perhaps it is the human being within all of us that wants to protect children from things that they aren't ready for. But if you really think about it, with social media, the internet, regular day-to-day interactions, kids are probably swearing up and down the halls by the time they're like 12. And I mean, swearing is actually funny like 90% of the time. Yes, those words are used in ugly ways, and no one is condoning that. But I mean, when it comes to media versus reality, I think we need to extend a deeper understanding on the difference of the two. Like it's all goofs and gaffes, listening to people swear. But swearing isn't just inherently bad, it's just words. Words have different reactions based on where you're from and how you're raised to view them. And I think all of us as a society has placed too high of a value on swear words.
Damn, George, that might be the most I've ever heard you speak, and honestly, I kind of agree. I think our priorities got out of whack at some point. I mean, look at the Hunger Games. We literally witnessed people die in gruesome fashions, as a lot of people die. Arrows through the chest, axe to the head, stabbed, gassed, the list goes on and on. and that movie is PG-13. You have to be at least 13 to see a man take an arrow through the chest. But 17 or 18 to see someone on the screen say fuck more than once, it is definitely weird.
I really don't give a fuck how you rate things. Just be consistent about it. It's just an odd way of rating things, isn't it? Maybe I'm just crazy, but even smaller things like Shrek, for instance, an all-time classic movie series, goated, some may say, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, Shrek the Third, spoiler alert, has Prince Charming literally getting crushed by rocks. He straight up fucking dies, and it's basically played for laughs. We all know it's not real, we all know it's a cartoon, we all know it's fake, but come on, a man gets crushed to death by a goddamn tower, and the movie is perfectly acceptable to be rated PG, and I agree with that rating. But if Shrek at any point said fuck twice, the movie would be R-rated. Isn't that dumb? Am I crazy here?
Now, you're not crazy, Donald. It certainly is weird, but I guess humans as a species are just that, weird. We are all just weird and make up certain rules that can be looked at and criticized from time to time, but every media company, movie company, YouTube, all these establishments have rules. And I guess we just have to accept that, but I think we can all agree it is at the very least interesting to see how we handle things like death and swearing. Who knows, maybe in 50 years no one will give a fuck about saying fuck. Anyway, you guys want to go rate Star Wars characters?
Hell yeah, Georgie, let's go make part 5 of the Star Wars series. They're really fun videos to make, but we still haven't solved the demonetization thing, so what are we going to do for that?
Already sorted it out, Joe, and I created a Patreon for us if you want to support us. Feel free to take a look at the Patreon page in the description below. Don't feel obligated to do so. We just want to make enough money to pay our bills and make much longer and better content for all of you wonderful people who subscribe to our channel. If you don't donate, that's totally okay. Videos will still be made. And if you do donate to our Patreon, then I just want to say thank you very much. We don't have a lot to offer, but if one day we are lucky and talented enough to give back, rest assured we will. Thank you all for watching us complain about YouTube and movie ratings. Part 5 of the Star Wars tier list should be out in a few days. Stay awesome, pimps. Obama and the squad are out of here.